Hello everybody, so this is going to be a quick look at Python jobs in the UK. I know most of my followers aren't from the UK, so I thought this would be interesting just to look and see what the state of the industry is in the UK, following obviously the global events that have overtaken us all. So the first website we're on is called read.co.uk, and I've not put in any filters, and you might just notice, so now in 2022, this, I don't know if you can see it, made it as big as I realistically can. There we go. Work from home, 672 jobs for Python. And that's out of a grand total of 3,465. So as a percentage, what would that be? It's 7. That's about a fifth. So it's nearly 20% of jobs, permanent jobs, work from home. Well, could be work from home. So we've got Python developer that is promoted. Here we go. So promoted, featured, featured, easy apply. Let's go to something more realistic that's not sponsored and promoted. So here we've got, this is a contract. It's working in London. Right, let's just go and filter, because I don't know about you, but I think in this day and age, if you're doing Python code, then really work from home should be what you're looking for. You can live anywhere. You don't have to live in the city or in the built-up towns where you have to do lots of driving, commuting, costs you more money. So, right, work from home, Manchester, easy apply. Let's have a look at this one. So, are you looking for a new Python backend developer role and the opportunity to join a rewarding, innovative startup? So I don't know if you've got any opinions on startups. One school of thought might be that they are awash with money. Another might be that they're understaffed and they're going to grow and you're going to have to do the job of two people. At least it'd be exciting, I think. So you will be working with the latest technologies that includes Python, AWS, DynamoDB, AWS Lambda, to name a few. Working alongside a small yet skillful team of developers that will really launch you and the company into new and exciting things. Flask, Django, Python, AWS. Okay, that's job number one. Let's have a look at another back-end developer role. Sometimes these jobs will be advertised different locations just to catch people's eyes, and it'll actually be the same job behind it. This is a very well paid one. I think you'd need a lot of experience here. So again, Django, Docker, AWS, Python developer. So sometimes you'll see Python developer, other times you'll see Python engineer, sometimes you'll see software engineer. I don't know about you, but I don't particularly want to be aiming for full stack because I think you're expected to know an enormous amount and it can dilute your skills, and to try and be expert at JavaScript and Python is probably taking on quite a lot. 2 days in the office every 2 weeks. So again, if you live 100 miles from London, that's quite expensive for you. So having said that, the salary is quite eye-watering, isn't it? 80k. So put that into context, that would probably buy you, I don't know, 4 brand new vehicles, 4 brand new cars. So in 1 year, your salary would be equivalent to the price of 4 brand new Ford Fiestas. How does that compare to a house? Well, a typical the average house price outside of the cities in the UK is, I don't know, between 300,000 and 400,000. So yeah, that's almost a fifth of a house. Right, next. 1990. I don't know how that's sorting these. Let's sort them by a realistic salary. So let's say from 30 to let's say 30 to 55. Kind of mid-level developer. Sorry about all the adverts. Everything's plastered in adverts now, isn't it? So London, Manchester, work from home. Rewarding startup, we've seen that. Okay, let's see this one. 40 to 60,000 DOE. DOE is dependent on experience. Rewarding startup. Okay, so that's the same job but advertised in Berkshire rather than London. Right, developer. Okay, this one looks like an actual different job. You can go for a while looking at the same jobs. They're all just advertised under different locations. Proficient in a C-derived language with over 3 years commercial experience, e.g. Go, Python, C, C++, or Java. Experience designing RESTful APIs. Well, if you want to learn RESTful APIs, then with Python, Flask API, and see my recent videos. Experience of continuous delivery, TDD, CI. Hold a degree in relevant subject. I think because of the kind of state of the market, I think you can actually apply if you don't have a degree in computer science. Sorry about the flickering. I thought I was curing that there, but obviously not. Professional, positive, able to interact with stakeholders. Yeah, so there's a lot of jargon, stakeholders, learning attitude. The stuff you'll see is self-starter, think outside the box, lots of cliches. So you just have to get through that. So the front end, TypeScript, Angular, React. COVID, currently working remote and gradually building up time in the office. The normal will probably be something like 3 days in the office and 2 from home. So yeah, a lot of jobs actually catch your eye as being work from home, but they're not. Here's a nice one. Python developer, Django, machine learning, AI, an opportunity work an exciting upcoming machine learning project for a full service digital agency. This role is for a mid-weight Python developer. So what is a mid-weight developer? Let's see how many. Okay, so two plus commercial years with it, Python. So according to this, 2 years, more than 2 years experience with Python, and you can call yourself a mid-weight developer. Obviously, it's not anything to do with your physical weight. Relevant degree. Again, if you were going to apply for one of these, I would not let that. If you didn't have a relevant degree in computer science, but you had 2 years experience, from the impression I get, you would still be considered. So yeah, digital. Everything's going digital. And if you saw my earlier video on blockchain and kind of Bitcoin, yeah, there's plenty of work out there for digital and cloud migrations. Talking of which, data analyst, Python, SQL. So again, I don't know if you got any preference with using cloud from Amazon, Microsoft, Oracle, or whoever. Personally, Amazon is not my favorite company, and given a choice, I would choose not to get involved with AWS. That's just me being opinionated, so I won't influence you too much there. Graduate with 2-1 in computer science or mathematics. Very good knowledge of SQL. A wellness allowance, a £200 budget per month for food. I guess that's for lunches, so you can go to a sandwich shop at lunchtime or something. So it says work from home, 2 days a week working from home. The option to work abroad for 30 days of the year. That's interesting. Agile test engineer. I don't know about you, but that's kind of the less fun side of things, really. Obviously, it's important, but depending on what you've previously worked on, to go back to just doing testing might seem a little bit, how should we say, mundane. Right, Python, data, SQL. That mentions NumPy. Remote interview, work from home. Complex challenging systems. Yeah, again, computer science, degree, NumPy, pandas, SQL, data modeling. If you've already got a degree in computer science, then yeah, you're probably going to be in a good place for this. Like if you're like me and you don't have a degree in computer science, then you're probably going to have to impress them with your own examples of work on GitHub and play a blinder if they give you any sort of competency test. Here we go. Junior DevOps, Python, Bash, GitLab, Cambridge, 35 to 45. Work from home, Python, Bash, GitLab, Linux, R&D. Cybersecurity technology company. Their suite of AI-driven cybersecurity So DevOps engineer. Good ability of Python and or Bash. You have experience with GitLab, AWS, GCP, Azure. If you're like me and you haven't got a big budget and you just want to learn cloud, then I think probably Google is, although it's renowned for being more difficult, more advanced, or not more advanced, but it's renowned for being a harder exam to pass. If you can study GCP, Google Cloud, that might put you in a good place. Amazon and Microsoft and some of the others, you have to hand over your credit card, and there's no limit on when they'll bill you or anything. So as far as I know, you can continue to work from home for up to 3 days a week eventually. So it's not not fully work from home either. There are jobs out there which are 100% work from home. So it depends what your motivation is. I mean, if you're not from the UK anyway, this is irrelevant. You're probably just interested to see the job spec. So we'll just look at the money. So 35 to 80,000. So that's quite a that's a big gap. So in the UK, I think you have to be careful with mean and median. I think in the UK the average salary is something like 34,000. The median in the UK is 31,000. So if you're good at data engineering, machine learning, and this kind of stuff, I think you'd probably want to be looking for a little bit more than 35,000. If you're just trying to get your foot in the door, then yeah, no harm in just going in at the bottom and getting your experience up to the magical 2+ years when you can call yourself a mid-level developer. So experience with frameworks, Django, Flask, JavaScript, React. So they want you to know NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, TensorFlow. If they want you to know all those, it's a bit tough wanting you to, I guess JavaScript is okay, but Django, React. I wouldn't think, unless you're very, very clever, you're going to have extensive expertise in all of those and all of those. But I think really with machine learning, you need to know how to implement some of you need to know how to use the libraries, implement the models, and frameworks, Django, Flask, JavaScript. It's kind of like full stack really, isn't it? Flask, Django, HTML really, and I don't know where the particular emphasis is. Understanding continuous integration, retail analytics, degree in computer science. If you've got a degree in computer science, you're going to be pretty annoyed if you are just going to go and... I would think this is probably your first job if you're going to go in at 35,000. Otherwise, you'd be a bit annoyed. Because if you've got a student loan, you're probably already 30,000 in debt. And how are you going to start paying back a £30,000 debt and afford to live and run a car or whatever? And yeah, you get the idea. Docker, Kubernetes, Linux. So if you learn Python, I think from what we're seeing, Python, you need to also be able to show some sort of evidence of Flask, JavaScript, So Django is such a huge framework. I think you're just going to have to kind of wing it and yeah, do a couple of small projects with it. It's a huge thing to have to know, as well as machine learning. You're going to be good at one or the other. So anyway, that's enough about that one. Let's look at another one. Machine learning, QA test engineer, BI, no. The other, so Star Wars, produce movie franchises, Python/JavaScript. Yeah, so you do see quite a few jobs which are advertising for Python and JavaScript now, which probably 2 or 3 years ago you wouldn't find many. R and Python, so yeah, data analyst, senior data analyst. So a senior role, only paying, again, the lower number is not great if you're going to be a senior data analyst. Fintech company, London, work from home. Python, NumPy, SQL, ETL, MedTech, remote, startup. So there's so many startups around London and Cambridge. It's like the Silicon Valley of the UK. Cambridge, London. Obviously, Cambridge has got a very good university, so I think there's probably a large number of startups and companies in and around Cambridge. So, Poole, that's down on the south coast, software QA engineer. Again, if you've already done some interesting projects, you probably would not want to go back to just doing QA and testing. Depends what floats your boat, really, and how stuck you are for money. Here we go. Data engineer, Python, Pandas, SQL, no SQL. No SQL. So it doesn't mean no SQL. It means not only. 50 to 70. Engineering an all-in-one app used to gain control over your finances and remove the need for a specialist. Let's just look at this one. That was posted on the 5th of January, so that's a few weeks, was that 2 weeks ago. Strong program skills, Python, Pandas, libraries such as Pydantic or Fast API. So again, yeah, if you saw my most recent ML or Fast API video, then I pretty much covered Pydantic and Fast API for kind of a beginner. Postgres, MySQL, yeah. Exposure, so that's good because it says exposure rather than expertise. Good knowledge, strong skills, strong. So strong, good, exposure. You have to kind of interpret the words a little bit. Interrogating the data of millions of users. Wow. I think if you join one of these startups, it'd be nice to kind of get a share in the company in case it becomes the next the next Google or the next Facebook, or the equivalent. Obviously not, there's only ever going to be, what do they call it, the network effect. So a bit like advocates of Bitcoin are saying that Bitcoin will beat all the other cryptos because of the network effect. A bit like there's only one Facebook, there's only one Amazon. So yeah, the network effect. Technical consultant, 45 to 60. So you're gradually getting the feel that it's probably the sweet spot on the salaries is somewhere in between, 45-ish, 50, kind of for a senior developer, data engineer, 50, 45 to 50, Cambridge. So yeah, here we go, Bristol at last. So a job that's not London or Cambridge, and already you can see you're getting a long way from the city of London and Cambridge, and the salary is obviously a little bit lower as well. But this is junior mid-level DevOps engineer. The role, building, deploying. Okay, so this is not really coding. It's just there will be some Python, but you won't really be a programmer. You'll be building, testing, deploying infrastructure services. So yeah, a lot of AWS cloud admin stuff. So here Python is a bit lower down the pecking order. So again, want a BSc in computer science or relevant degree. And we'll look at a couple more and then we'll wrap up. So 60 to 80, DevOps, data engineer, Kubernetes, DevOps, data engineer, full stack developer. So I don't know about you, but if you want to specialize in Python, there's really, there's so much overlap between that and data engineering and DevOps. So you have to kind of filter through those if you don't want to end up kind of, it's like a pie chart, and you're only going to end up, if you become a DevOps engineer, you're going to spend so much time upgrading servers and versions and doing security patches and so on. You're actually going to lose some of your Python expertise if you go down that road. So data engineer again, here we go, Python, pandas, SQL. So you've got like the data engineering side, Python, pandas, SQL, no SQL. So no SQL, that's probably one that's cropping up more from what I would say over the past year, well, definitely over the past 2 years. Wow, PHP, Java. I think we're getting to the ones where Python is actually slightly less relevant now. So yeah, Python, SQL, AWS, data engineer. It all depends what you want to do, but for progressing your career, data engineer scrapey, wow. Yeah, that's a bit of an odd one out, really. For progressing your career as a programmer, obviously go in at the low level, probably testing automation might actually give you more full-time Python experience than doing something like DevOps. Software, C++, embedded, Oracle engineer. So again, that's really cloud admin. Admin. So really what we've seen today is there's almost 3 types of jobs with Python. There's the data engineering, SQL backend type of thing. There's the full stack where they want you to know Django and Flask and React. And then there's just the DevOps and the testing. So it's 4 really. But yeah, testing. If you're just going in at the start, then testing's probably not a bad way to practice and build up your skills. Get to the magic 2 years, 2 years plus. And the only drawback, if you did want to be fully remote, which is kind of what I've filtered by on this video, if you want to be fully remote, you're probably not going to learn from other people, or not as well as if you're sat next to them. It's always distracting to get a chat window keep popping up when you're trying to concentrate, whereas if you were in the same office, people could see when you were busy, concentrating, frowning, and so on. So yeah, that's the state of, so developer or analyst, those 2. So you've got DevOps, then you've got developer and analyst. So all depends whether you prefer working with pandas, NumPy, if you prefer working with kind of Flask, React, all the web stuff. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I think that's given you a little bit of an insight into the state of the Python job market in the UK in January 2020. So the pandemic is slightly reducing. So yeah, there'll probably be less out and out work from home roles eventually, but for now there's quite a few, and I think there's probably we've got quite big inflation in the UK as well, so I think that the salaries will have to go up as well, and we'll see what happens throughout the year. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Thanks.